I'm not holding up these Yeezys just to flex. I'm holding them up to prove a point. So are you guys hyped that I brought back the intro or what? So the Super NES Classic, the SNES Mini or whatever you want to call it, I'm sure a lot of you are aware of it at this point. If you're not, it's like the NES Classic. It's a miniature Super Nintendo console, and it comes preloaded with a bunch of games, including Star Fox 2, which was never released as a finished game. Like the NES Mini, it's bound to be popular as fuck, and like the NES Mini, chances are that the vast majority of consoles aren't gonna actually go to the people who want them at first. They're gonna go to scalpers and resellers and whatnot, people with bots and backdoor deals. That's who's gonna get the majority of it, and it's really frustrating to see that Nintendo just doesn't care with this kind of thing, because here's the thing, this is a problem that, yeah, it's pretty prevalent in anything that's gonna be a popular item, but it's a problem that's more or less been solved by Adidas. And I'm pretty excited to make this video because as a sneakerhead and a gamer, it's very rare that my interests kind of intersect in this way. But you see, I'm sure a lot of you who are mostly interested in getting the SNES Mini, SNES Classic, whatever, I forgot what it's called and I feel like stopping recording to double check. But I'm sure the vast majority of you have no idea about the sneaker game, don't give a shit about getting sneakers, anything high demand, but I'm sure you're vaguely aware that some of these sneakers, they're pretty difficult to get. A lot of them go for high resale prices, but despite that, and granted you can see like these people getting pushed down an escalator for the 80 pairs of Yeezys that they managed to cook up somehow. But in general, Adidas has a way of coping with the high demand of Yeezys. And it's a process that could easily be used by Nintendo to make sure that most of the SNES Classic consoles go to, you know, people who are trying to get a system on their own just for their own purposes and not to resell at an exorbitant price. To make the process as fair as possible for people who want a pair, Adidas has two systems in place. One of them is called Adidas Confirmed, which is an app you can get on your smartphone. Basically, the way that Adidas Confirmed works, and I'll pull up some footage of the app, the week of the release, the app gives you a notification that tells you that, hey, we're gonna do reservations on this and that date, and you can decide to opt in if you're interested in it. Then when the time comes around, it'll do this little thing. It's kind of like a CAPTCHA. It'll count down 10 seconds, and then when the time hits of the exact reservation time, you just kind of click on the app, it'll circle around and tell you whether or not you got the shoes, and then you can pick them up from the Adidas store. To make it even more secure against bots, this past release, which was the Yeezy Zebras, they added something where it asks you, like, what... It's like a CAPTCHA. It asks you to click on the picture that matches what it's asking for, and then it puts you into the reservation slot to see if, you know, you got it before anybody else. And if you don't manage to get a pair through that, they have, on their website, a kind of random draw queuing system where you go onto their website, it kind of circles around, and then everyone who is in the queue will randomly get a chance to perhaps buy the sneakers. Now, something like that could easily be implemented for the SNES Mini and make it so much fairer for everyone who wants a console, but like I said before, and as we've seen with basically every Nintendo release, if you've been a Nintendo fan for the past, you know, maybe since the release of the Wii, I feel like the Wii was the first time that Nintendo really dropped the ball with the release shit show. But if you've been a Nintendo fan since then and moving on, you know they just do not give a fuck about keeping their customers happy when it comes to having an adequate amount of systems or anything like that. They do not give a shit about people getting fucked over by resale. It is super unlikely that they would bother to implement such a system, but you know, it's, like I said, it's just so frustrating because the technology exists to keep the bots, not completely keep them out, but to keep them from taking everything and reselling it for ridiculous prices. I mean, like I said, Adidas' systems aren't foolproof. Bots still get tons of shoes to resell. People find workarounds in the Confirmed app, like those guys in China that I showed you. Just trying to walk out of the store with like 80 pairs of Yeezys and thinking they're gonna get away with it. Like, nothing is ever foolproof when it comes to ways that people can make a quick buck, but fucking Nintendo, at least try. At least try, goddammit. Anyway, I'm curious what your thoughts are on the upcoming SNES Mini release, or actually, if any of you guys actually do give a shit about sneakers, that'd be pretty interesting for me to find out. But let me know in the comments section if you plan on getting an SNES Mini, how good you think your chances are. Maybe you're trying to get as many as possible to resell. Let me know. I'm curious about how this release is going to be, especially since I believe Nintendo said they're going to make a lot more than they did with the NES Mini. But until next time, everybody get fucked.